Hello, I'm here at Pigeon Creek Park to do a little cross-country ski birding today. Pigeon Creek Park is managed by Ottawa County Parks and is a recreation mecca for West Michigan in the winter. It has a lodge where you can rent skis and snowshoes and warm up with some hot cocoa and concessions. Check out the website for specific hours of operation. It also has a great sledding hill, so don't forget the sleds. But most of all, it boasts over 10 miles of ski trails, including 3 miles that are lit for nighttime skiing. Let's get going. My typical route for birding, marked by the yellow highlight, takes me clockwise around the perimeter of the south side of the park and is about 3 to 4 miles long. Note that the map has south at the top. I hit good birding spots along the trail, marked in red, like the creek overlook, hemlock path, creek loop, and the pine forest. My first stop is the creek overlook on the southwest side of the park. This beautiful stop has been a gem for birds as the water typically flows all winter long and there are plenty of berries and shrubby cover for birds. I've seen interesting wintering birds down here, including hermit thrush, song sparrow, and others. Listen close and you'll hear an unusual wintertime belted kingfisher's rattle and the tapping of a hairy woodpecker. Also seen while here today were tufted titmouse, white-breasted nuthatch, and a wintering song sparrow. Next stop is the Hemlock Path, where this past summer I had run into a fledgling barred owl. There's a nice run down to enter this beautiful and thick hemlock stand. Not far down the trail, I ran into a flock of birds, including this white-breasted nuthatch winding around the tree trunks in search of food, a red-bellied woodpecker foraging overhead, and even this hard-to-find wintertime brown creeper. Moving onward, I had to fight gravity upward, but what goes up must come down. A cross-country ski trip to Pigeon Creek Park isn't complete until you take a run down Pigeon Plunge. Let's go. Now that's a fun ride. The low areas along Pigeon Creek are accessible via the Creek Loop Trail. This path follows some boardwalk where in the past I've found bluebirds feeding on berries, swamp sparrows hiding in the thickets, lots of woodpeckers, and even a flock of common redpolls feeding in the birches. Today, things were fairly quiet, but it's always worth the trip to the Creek Loop Trail for just the scenery alone. Once I climbed out of the Pigeon Creek bottomlands, I was greeted by the cheerful song of a tufted titmouse as I entered this area of managed pine forest. It can host pine-loving species such as red-breasted nuthatch, pine siskin, and, if I'm particularly lucky, red crossbills. I guess I couldn't press my luck too much though, as I had already had a successful cross-country ski birding trip to Pigeon Creek Park. Well, I made it back to the lodge in one piece, but I will admit, I fell one time and I did break something. Thankfully, it wasn't my own body. but with my ski pole instead. I guess I'll be in the market for a new set of ski poles real soon. Thanks for joining me today for this cross-country ski birding trip to Pigeon Creek Park.